Samtastic here, doing a vlog update to sort of talk about all the things that I didn't actually get a chance to talk about in relation to Guild Wars 2 because I was too busy playing the game and not spending any time actually trying to like produce content for my channel. So yeah, here, there we go. Geek t-shirt right there, XKCD comic. Sorry. So I made like a list of things that I wanted to kind of look at, talk in the forums about. They shut down the forums before I was ready for them to, so I didn't get to post about everything that I wanted to, but that's okay. During the last Beta Weekend event, which happens to be the last Beta Weekend event, we had the introduction of the last two races, the Sylvari and the Asura, and I did get a chance to play the Sylvari. I intended to have a chance to play the Asura, but I just, I never got around to the character creation. They're both pretty awesome. I really like the Sylvari. The concept of the Sylvari is something that it really resonates well with me. But the Asura has, I played some of the personal story for the Asura, and it's hilarious. It's really funny. The main Asura hero person, the one from the Edge of Destiny, which is, I actually don't have the book nearby. But oh, it's just out of reach. But yeah, The Edge of Destiny is one of the novels that was given out. It had Zoja and Snaf as the Asura. It had Kaith the Sylvari, Ritlock Brimstone, who's the figurine that you get with the special collector's edition, the Char, and then there's Logan Thackeray, who's the human, obviously, and then the Norn. Is it Irestonekin? Something like that. You know. Anyway, so to not give you any spoilers, Zoja is the sort of the character that you follow in the personal story for the Asura quest, and she is voiced by Felicia Day. And at first, it took me a second to sort of get used to that. It was just weird hearing Felicia Day voice this Asura character. It weirded me out, but the script is really good, and I think that her personality sort of suits the personality of Zoja, and it's a good fit. I have to say in conclusion. Moving on, the slash dance emote was not enabled yet, so we didn't get to see any of the dances. The ones that I did verify that are working are sit and sleep, wave, cheer, and beckon, and I think roar. I don't remember if roar was one that explicitly didn't work or it just didn't have the animations put in yet. Basically, when you do like a slash command, if it's a bad command, it says command not recognized, and if you do it and it's not a bad command, then it doesn't say that. But in the case of slash dance, it doesn't say command not recognized, but it doesn't do anything at this point. It's just not something that they've implemented. Hopefully they'll have that ready by the time of release. Yeah, it's not working right now, so you don't have to go searching for that. As for guilds, currently the max members for a single guild is 50, and I'm pretty sure that includes people that are not representing the guild. One of the things that was called for in the forums is that guild members that are not representing be that it be kept track of how long they've been not representing, similarly to how long it would show if somebody's offline. So I think that would be a good feature. You may say, oh my god, 50, but you could have 100 people in Guild Wars 1 guilds. Well, you can have up to 500 people in Guild Wars 2 guilds if you get the upgrades through the upgrading system. I don't know exactly how those upgrades are going to work, like what their costs will be, but if you have an active guild and some people do world versus world, it's probably not going to take very long to up that cap if you need to. And they don't have any intention to implement alliances, but they were basically showing some comparisons between Guild Wars 1 guilds and Guild Wars 2 guilds, and so it's, I guess with an alliance you could have up to 1,000 people in a single alliance, but since you're all going to be, if you're working together, then you'll probably all be on the same server and you'll bump into each other anyway. It's not like you're going to be walking out into an instance and never see your friends while you're out in the world. You're going to still see those people even if they're not in your guild. So I don't think it's going to really be a problem. having that smaller startup number is going to I think, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate too much on guilds. I think it's going to work out fine, and if there is a big problem with it, I'm sure they'll be willing to make changes to make everyone happy, or at least make most people happy. As for the updates for professions, at this time there are not any new life force skills, and I believe that the Death Shroud skills underwater are identical. I don't remember exactly what they were in the first beta. I didn't go back and like check my footage. I think I had some underwater combat in the last beta that I recorded, but I'm pretty sure it's the same skills, so there are no big changes there. Some people were complaining about how the Death Shroud just wasn't as awesome when you were underwater, but I didn't really have a big problem with underwater combat for the most part anyway, because the spear was really, really strong. As for the flesh golem, I think that I wasn't able to verify that explicitly, but I think that they hadn't really fixed the AI on that, and I noticed like the underwater animation would freeze up like that while I was swimming around, which looked really silly. And I don't know. I am thinking they probably didn't fix that, because similarly I had my golem summon on the elementalist from this weekend, which the earth golem would do the same thing swimming around in the water. It looked weird. So I don't know if hopefully they'll fix the swimming animation so it won't be like it won't look really goofy. I like the suspension of disbelief. It's a great world, and I don't like having things just sort of shock me out of the illusion of experiencing that. I don't think they made any big changes for the Guardian. The Guardian was one of the complaints is that there was no real ranged option for the Guardian, and the Scepter was supposed to be improved during the last beta to make that more viable, but it's still kind of a nubbier range. But I think because the Guardian has so much power and so much control at close range, it doesn't really need that long range. It's more there to be a wall than it is to be like a long range damage dealer. So I don't really think that that's a problem. If you don't want to have your range restricted, then like play a warrior or a ranger or something like that. There was a problem that I was having with the Ranger Pet Resurrection. When Ranger Pets would run up, they'd all clump in the middle of the battle, and they'd be running around dead, and you're like, oh well, I can take the time to try to raise your pet, and then the Ranger would run like 10 feet that way. The pet would follow him, and that was it. You didn't get experience for resurrecting. The pet didn't get resurrected, and you'd had to like try to chase him down. And posting about that on the forums, it turned out that the Rangers just don't really care, because there's like a pet switching that you could do that'll just automatically resurrect your pets, and so they just don't concern themselves with it that much a lot of the time. Big complaint was the matter of priority, that people wanted the priority to always be on like players and NPCs, and for pets to have the lowest priority, or like picking up the loot have a higher priority than resurrecting your silly pet. I don't really feel like that suits the sort of cooperative model, but I was thinking what would make more sense is if they just made the pet not move while somebody was resurrecting it, instead of chasing off after their ranger owner. If the pet would just stay still, I wouldn't mind it as much, honestly. It wouldn't bother me. Some people don't want to have to resurrect the pets at all. They think it should be exclusively the ranger's problem. I don't really agree with that. I like the whole working together aspect. So people will figure out how to handle their pets and manage them well. If they're going to be playing ranger, they kind of need to figure that out. But I mean, you're going to have noobs of all classes, and I would rather be resurrecting somebody's pet than resurrecting the player over and over again. So let your pet die before you do. That was, I guess that's sort of like a ranty thing, but that was one of the things that I focused on was dealing with the pet resurrection. The traits respec cost, moving on to traits, the respec cost has been reportedly decreased. I checked on the wiki, and it's apparently 71 copper per point that you've put into your traits, and there's a possible 70 points total, so it's not something that's totally insane. Getting up to level 31 during this beta weekend event, I did accumulate over 1 gold. I spent a good chunk of that just buying dyes to see what color dyes I could get, but nothing spectacular. I got like 15 shades of pink or something, but there are a lot of dye options, and if you save up the money for it, it's actually not that difficult to just get dye on the trading post too. The trading post is a really good system. I'm really happy with the way that the trading post works. That you say, hey, I'm like 12 levels above this area, and I'm having trouble because I can't deal enough damage to these enemies underwater. Oh, it's because I'm still using my starter trident, so I'll go on the trading post and I'll find a better trident that's a little bit closer to my level, and then I'll be able to do a little bit more damage and have some more viability in this area. That's actually something that happened to me personally. I helped somebody with their personal story, and there are these, I think it was the scale, that have a regeneration on them, which makes them really, really hard to kill, and both of us were using our starting underwater weapons trying to fight these scale for their personal story. And it was, yeah, that I basically was like, why is this so hard? Oh, because it's my starter trident. I haven't actually improved my trident. And that was when I discovered at that time that the trading post was broken, but they fixed it later, and when it was actually working, it worked really well. And it's fun to, like, you can clear out your inventory if you want to just sell stuff on there. When you're out in the field, you don't want to have to go find a merchant. That's good. And it's easy enough to buy things from it and then just go pick them up when you have the time to go talk to a trading post NPC. So that was another tangent. Oh my god. Since they did a character wipe, I didn't really get to play my Necromancer, and I'll be honest, I didn't do any PvP at all this weekend. I was just all about exploring, doing PvE, playing with my friends, and experimenting with the Elementalist, which it turns out can run around faster than probably any other class in the game. And don't worry, when the game comes out, I'll give a tutorial for how to make your Elementalist rocket around like nobody's business. So you can get that exploration done early on and get your levels up quickly. That's something that I'm just going to do. It's going to be fun. Now, I wasn't able to check to see if the traits related to wells were fixed. Reportedly, or presumably they were, because they did mention that was something that they were working on during the end of the last beta. But I did catch a quote from the developer John Peters, who said, "It is our current opinion that Necro is one of the two professions that need the most love right now. Everyone will get some help, but as I told many players in game, Necro needs more than most. That does not mean there are no strong Necro builds, but Necro just needs more viable builds and more good traits." So if you were concerned about the Necromancer not being what you expected of it, check it out again at launch, or just keep up with the blog posts and see if maybe that's fixed for you, and it can be as fun as you'd like. I don't know what the other build or the other profession was, but just reading through the rest of that post, it was almost assuredly either Thief or Mesmer, and that's that. So those are going to be probably the ones that get the most changes before launch. So those might be the ones that you want to look into if you were disappointed with them. As for I have a section where I meant to check out PvP and I didn't, so that's moot. Let's just boop, gone. Okay, and then I had a commerce section where I mentioned the trading post, which I've already talked about, out of order. And the gem exchange, they did settle on prices for the gem exchange finally. The way that gem exchange worked during the last beta is that if you bought gems, then even though everything would be wiped after this beta prior to launch, any money that you spent on gems would be used to buy you more gems at launch time. So say you spend $10 on gems during the beta and then you blew them all, that's okay, you'll still get another $10 in gems at launch without having to spend another $10. So that was one of the things to encourage people to test out the system. I didn't get any gems this weekend, so I mean, I'd already used the like 2,000 for $1 that you get refunded for the last betas, and I just didn't. I've already given enough money to the Guild Wars 2 cause at this point, and I'm going to just spend my in-game gold to get my first character slots and storage panes and that sorts of thing. So the pricing that they had for it was 800 gems for $10, and they scale it all the way. I think then they gave options for $20, $25, $30, and $50 or something like that. They gave, or it may have been 10, 20, 25, and 50 or something. They basically let you buy them in large clumps, but they're all at the value of 800 gems per $10. At the time that we were playing the game, which this is probably not even going to be remotely close to what the final standing is for the exchange. At the time that we were playing, after a couple days into it, it was about 85 silver coins to get 125 gems, which is what you need to buy a mystic key to open up the mystic chest. So at the end I had like 7 mystic chests and no keys. But you can get keys from chests, you can get keys from like exploring, so there are a couple of different ways to get keys. It's not just through the gem store, but it was something, if I had more time, I could have started raising money for keys, and I imagine that as you get higher level, that'll become easier and easier. So yeah, there was something else that I think I was about to say that I completely blanked on. Anyway, I don't remember what it was. It was probably very important, vitally important. So, if you have any other questions for me or about the game, feel free to post comments. And if I don't know the answer, then I'll try to research it, because I've made a habit of like scouring their blogs. I read every post that they put on there. I don't really camp out Reddit, but I do go through and read stuff on Reddit periodically, especially if there's an unanswered question that's really bugging me. But I think that more or less covers a lot of what may have been pressing questions about the last beta. And as we're a month away from launch, we can all start getting super duper excited. So if you were saying, hey, I didn't want to ruin the game for myself during the beta, go ahead and pre-purchase now, and you should still be able to get that 3-day head start and start playing the game sooner, so you can not ruin it for yourself faster than you otherwise would if you bought the game later. The last beta is over, that's it, and you will click like and subscribe. You will see me later.